Good morning. Good morning. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back and happy freaky, funky, fantastic Friday. Get ready to dive into it. Discuss what we got going on for today. Talk about some top stocks. Where's the best of the best areas to make some money? Where's it at, guys? Because we got the SPY and the Qs hitting all-time highs. It's like, what do we do? Probably not trade the SPY and the Qs, right? There's tons of other stocks out there sitting on up. Maybe, just maybe. But we're going to dive into it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to get you guys dialed in for today. But before we do that, hit me with a big old good morning. And we will officially dive into it. Sizzler, what's up, dude? You held some SPY contract overnight, up over $3 to the upside. I'm pretty sure your calls are going to print, buddy. Absolutely. Look at that. Yeah, we close at 611.87. We're up at 614 right now on the SPY, but pretty sure we just had data drop, if I'm not mistaken. So, what do we have for today? June 27th on the economic calendar. We had 8:30 core PCE data. Here at 9:15, we got Fed Cook and Fed Hammock speaking. At 10 o'clock, we have Michigan consumer sentiment data. Again, that could be some data that moves the market, but 6 minutes ago, we had PCE, personal income, and personal spending data. So what was PCE? Came in at 0.2%. Interesting. Forecasted 0.1%. Looking at core PCE year over year. I mean, it's not that important, but came in about 0.1% higher than the forecast. Look at PCE price index. We came in line with forecast month over month, year over year. Personal spending was down a lot month over month, negative 0.4%, forecasted to be at 0.3%. So that's a big difference between the forecast. That's about 0.7% month over month personal income. And then we see personal spending also about 0.2% lower. So if you're looking at personal income refers to the income that persons receive in return for their provision of labor, land, and capital used in current production, plus current transfer receipt, less contributions for government social insurance. So that's personal income. It refers to the income that a person receives. Then you go look at personal spending. And we see that also came in about 0.2 below the forecast. And you got the SPY dropping pretty decent. I mean, it's about $1 to the downside right now, right off that 8:30 data drop. So we see 8:30 hits and a little bit of a drop of Ruski. Nothing too crazy, right? Just a little bit of a drawdown. Nothing crazy. But again, SPY is officially gapping in the all-time highs, right? We didn't hit all-time highs yesterday. All-time highs were at 6, 13, 14. But yeah, we're officially in all-time highs, baby. And take a look at the Qs. We've been sitting in all-time highs for the past 2 sessions, right? So sky's the limit. Where could we go? Well, sky's the limit. Next psychological level for the Qs is going to be 550, right? If you look at the SPY, next psychological level is going to be up around that 625 mark. And there's not a lot of analysis to do on the SPY and the Qs daily. Right, so when you look at the SPY and the Qs daily and you're like, all right, cool, let's go find some zones, supply and demand. You're like, haha, there's nothing here because you look left. And again, we're at all-time highs. So there's not a lot you can do. There's not a lot we can do. But what we're going to do on the Qs is we're going to put a zone up against yesterday's high a day and close. That's where we're going to start with the Qs, right? Because that's all we have to do, guys. I mean, yeah, there's going to be lower zones back down here at like 539. We got the gap down here between, like 531 to 536. I mean, yeah, if we ever start to see the Qs get back down into some of these lower levels, we got some pretty key significant lower levels that we'll be looking to trade off of. But right now, it's like, what do we have? Well, the only thing that we can do is just mark up yesterday's high and close with the zone, and that's going to be our nearest level of support, right? Previous day's close, previous day's high. I like to build zones, especially when we have a strong close near high day, and that's what we saw yesterday. You're on QQQ, right? We had a strong close near high a day. So I'm just going to throw a zone around yesterday's high and close. And that's going to be our nearest level of support that we could even look to trade off of. So that's all you can do on the daily. Would you look at that? We're done. It took like 60 seconds. Let's go to a 4-hour, and all we're doing is looking left for some areas of demand, right? We're in a clear uptrend, right? Market's clearly strong to the upside. There's a lot of momentum. So if we're looking to trade these pullback longs, right, we want to trade these pullback longs off some daily zones of support, which we don't have a lot of, and then some lower time frame areas of demand, right? So if we're looking at a 4-hour time frame, do we have any 4-hour demand? Yeah, I see 2 areas of demand on a 4-hour. So here's the first area of demand right here on the Qs. We have the rally, we have the base, we have the gap up rally. So there's going to be some 4-hour demand. Go ahead and mark that up. And then if you look left to the downside, there is only one other area of 4-hour demand, and it's going to be back down here into Wednesday's lows. We had this drop, base, rally. So there's going to be some demand back down around like 541 here on the Qs as well. All right, so let's go ahead and mark up that 4-hour demand. What do you notice about that 4-hour demand zone? Right, lines up off of yesterday's high and close. Right, so we got some overlap between yesterday's high day and close. That's an area of support. And we do have some 4-hour demand. And you can see there's that little sliver of overlap between those two zones. That's looking good for an area to get long, right? Because right now, it's like, where are you getting short? There's no key level to the upside to get short off of right now. So we're not even considering getting short. We're looking for pullback longs. That's all we're looking to do is pullback longs until we start to break down and clearly see the market reversing. We're not looking to take shorts. There's nowhere to get short. So first area that I would get long on the Qs is going to be 546.30. Why? Out of all the areas that I could possibly get long, why at 546.30 of all areas? Well, because that's where I have daily support, right? And I have 4-hour demand. So if price comes down to 546.30, I know there's a high probability outcome that price moves to the upside. So that's where I'm looking to get long today. And we're just looking for the pullback long. That's it. Let's go flip it down to a 1-hour time frame. All right, let's do some 1-hour demand analysis. So here is going to be some 1-hour demand down here from yesterday's session, right? We have this rally, base, rally. So go ahead and mark up that 1-hour demand zone, all right? It's on that 12 o'clock candle from yesterday. And then we could, if we wanted to, go down into a 30-minute and find some 30-minute zones. So we'll go finish the Qs up on a 30-minute. Yep, there's your 30-minute drop base rally. So go ahead and mark up your 30-minute demand zone. All right. What about some 30-minute demand up hither? You had that little rally base rally. Price came in 3 times, hit it. So you're really just left with the 4-hour. That's still, good structure. So that's the Qs. Right? Last thing that you could do is put a fib retracement from swing low to swing high and just mark up this leg to the upside. Right? Every time we have a leg up, just put a fib retracement on it, right? And use that fib retracement as an area to get long, as a confluence. So look at this leg to the upside we had. Swing low, swing high. Where did we pull back to? The 50% level, and then we push to the upside. Surprising. Coincidence? No. Just the shit that's respected. So when we look at the Qs and we put a fib from swing low up to swing high and we mark up this leg, where's the 50% retracement at? It's sitting right where we have 1-hour, 30-minute demand. Do you guys see that? We had 1-hour demand. We had 30-minute demand. So that's already looking like a pretty good area to get long off that demand. But we also see it's right up against the 50% retracement. And we know in really strong markets, whether that's to the upside or the downside, we typically pull back to that 50% level and then push higher. And you see it time and time and time again. I mean, I just showed you this example on this leg to the upside, right? Where we had swing low to swing high, right to the 50% level into demand. Oh, would you look at that? It pops to the upside. Shocking. So that's what we want to do here on the Qs, is put that fib on this leg to the upside, and we do have confluence. 1-hour demand, 30-minute demand, 50% fib retracement. So do you think Josh will be getting long back down around 544.50 where all of those confluences overlap? Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. I will be looking to play calls back down around that 544.50 mark on the Qs. Right? So these are your visual plans. I like to visualize things out. Instead of just talking about it, I like to visualize it. So what's my first plan for today? Well, if we come down to that level of support and that 4-hour demand zone, and if we hit this overlap right around that 546.30 level, that's the first area that I'm going to play calls, right? And expect price to move to the upside. Okay, if we move lower, let's say we come down, we don't set up, and we just keep coming lower. The next area that I'm looking to get long and play calls will be down around 544.50. Why is that? We have 4-hour demand. No, we have 1-hour demand. We have 30-minute demand. That's right where that 50% fib retracement lies. Right there. So that's going to be the next area that I'm looking to play calls. I don't see a reason where I don't see an area, basically, where I would even think about getting short today. So that's that. Any questions on the Qs? Pretty simple stuff, right? And the SPY is going to be just as easy. $1,000 on the SPY by 2026. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me, dude. That's funny. Yeah, Qs are easy. SPY's easy as well, guys. Let's go to the SPY daily. All right, and here's what we're doing on SPY daily. I'm going to clear it all out so you can see the zone, and then I'll put everything back on. But basically, if we just look at the SPY, we had a strong close near high a day, right? So that was a very strong push. I normally just come in and mark up the previous day's high in close when we have these strong pushes and strong closes near high a day, especially when we have no other key levels of resistance. But when I take the zone out to the left, I start to see that I could have a zone built around some of these rejection points in this region here. And it's pretty damn close, right, to yesterday's high and close anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a zone around what I see here on the daily. So I see that we came up to the zone, we hit it as a resistance, broke above it, gap down, high day reject. And that's the biggest thing that stands out to me was this gap down, high day rejection. And I guarantee if we drill this down to a lower time frame and we look at what this price did this day at that zone, I'm sure there would be some kind of movement, some kind of development. So let's do that, right? And we're really checking out this day here from February 19th. There's just that big green day through that zone. But I'm curious to see, did we do anything off that zone on a lower time frame? So I'll just go into a lower time frame, go look left and see, did we have any good price development off that zone that I can't see on the daily time frame? Well, look at this. Run up to that zone, we drop hard, but that was pre-market resistance. You can't see pre-market data on a daily candle. So this here, I can't see that on a daily. All I see is a big green candle body through that zone. That does nothing for me. But when I go down to a 30-minute, I'm like, oh shit, look at that. It was actually really well respected. In pre-market, resistance. In pre-market again, resistance. That day, we initially hit it as resistance. We see a lot of good price development off that level. So I can justify that being a significant level for the SPY, right? So that's my zone on the SPY. And that's the reason that's my zone on the SPY. And then check it. It also lines up with yesterday's high day and close. Awesome. So we got a really good looking zone of lower support. It's up against yesterday's high and close. We already know that previous day high and close is going to be an area of support for today. So we already have a good looking zone here on the SPY daily. So that zone, if you guys want it, is between 611.68 to 612.31. It's a nice tight zone, right? And we can see that's been hit many, many times. And we developed beautifully off this zone in the past. So I like it. It's a good zone, right? We're done on the daily. Like, that's all you can do. What else can you do? I mean, yeah, you got some daily demand down here, but that's back down around 606. So we got some time before we get back down into some of that daily demand, right? So we're done on the daily for today. That's pretty simple stuff. Next, let's go into a 4-hour, and we're going to do some 4-hour supply demand analysis here on the SPY. Again, we're at all-time highs. There's no supply. So we're looking at demand levels. Demand levels. We got some 4-hour demand here on the SPY. We got this rally, base, rally formation right there. So go ahead and mark up that 4-hour basing candle. That's your 4-hour demand zone. Let's now go into our 1-hour time frame. I'm not crazy about the 1 hour because the impulse out just, it's not there. But let's go into a 30-minute and see if we get some really good, clear structure on a 30 minutes. Drop base, rally. The impulse wasn't anything great. Then we have this nice little rally base, rally base. There was the start of that little impulse. I mean, yeah, we can get some little overlap, but it already came down. It hit, and it popped. So, I mean, we can mark up the final 30-minute candle prior to the gap up this morning. And that'll give you a little bit of overlap. So you're starting to get some overlap here. You definitely know 4-hour demand looks solid. That lines up with that daily zone of support. Right? And I put the midline on my daily zone. So if you guys are wondering, what's this purple line? Anytime I find a key daily zone of support resistance, what I do is I put the midline on. And you'll notice that that midline on these zones are respected really fucking well. It's surprising on how, well respected the midpoint of a daily zone is. So start putting the midpoint up and you'll notice, like, dude, it's respected beautifully. And what do we start to notice? Look at the midpoint of that daily zone of support. It's right where we have some of that demand overlap. Right here. So where do I want to play calls and get long on the SPY? 612. Why? Daily zone of support, and I have some overlap with my demand zones. All right, so I know I want to play calls and get long at 612. So that's what we got here on the SPY. Anything else I can do on a 4-hour? No. Let's take the SPY to a 1 hour. Do I have anything else? There is some 1-hour demand from yesterday's session right there. Let's go ahead and mark up that 1-hour demand zone here on the SPY. Yeah, we have that initial rally, base, rally. But nice basing candle, nice structure, impulse, nothing phenomenal, but overall it did continue to grind and move to the upside. Sets right where that 50% fib is. Looks pretty nice. I like the confluence we have. And do we have any 30-minute overlap down at that lower zone? Yeah, you got some 30-minute overlap that sits right at the fib as well. So there's going to be some 30-minute inside of the hour. All right, so we've done daily analysis into the 4-hour, the 1 hour, the 30-minute, and this is what we're left with, guys. All right? So this is what we're left with. We have one daily zone of support. We got some overlapping demand zones. And we're doing the same thing on the SPY that we did with the Qs, right? We're taking a fib retracement from swing low to swing high. All right, now let's start to get an idea of where the best trades would be setting up. So I already know 612 is a good area. Daily zone of support. I have 4-hour, 1 hour demand overlap, all sitting right at 612. So I know that if we come down to 612, there's a really high probability chance we pop and bounce to the upside. That's going to be the first area that I look to play calls and get long today. 612 on the SPY. If we fall below that support level and we fall below some of that demand, I'm going to be hands off and I will wait until we get down towards around 610. Why 610? Well, I have two overlapping zones of demand, right? And I have my 50% fib retracement level sitting right there at 610. So I know if we get down to 610, that's going to be the next best area to also look and play calls here on the SPY. And that's the process that you guys got to dial in and just, you got to do it on a consistent basis. With any stock, with anything you're looking at, could be Forex, could be crypto, could be futures, individual stocks, small caps. It doesn't matter. Process is the same. Come in and start on at least a daily time frame. If you're day trading, at least a daily time frame. And there's 3 things you're doing on a daily time frame. There's more. There's 4 things you're doing on a daily time frame. identifying key zones of support resistance, which you've seen the process on how we find those zones of support resistance, right? Supply and demand, gaps, and overall looking at the trend and the strength of the market, right? Start on the daily. Find your key levels. Then flip it down to the 4 hour. Do you have any 4 hour analysis you can do? Then go down to a 1 hour. Do your 1 hour analysis and keep doing that until you finish up on like a 30-minute or a 15-minute time frame. And then you're going to be left with this, where you have all that analysis done and your charts marked up just like this, right? Then just come in and visualize what could happen today. Start to paint that picture. Start to build some potential plans. Get an idea of, if I see this type of trade setting up, would I take it and how would I trade it? That's all you have to do to get really prepared for the day. And that's what we've done, right? So I know if we come down to 612 on the SPY, I know that's an area where I want to what? Get long and play calls. So I'm going to think ahead. What would my plan even look like? Well, I know entries would be at 612. Okay, where would I need to put my stop loss on this trade? I would need to put my stop loss below, right, that daily zone of support and that 1 hour demand. So I know I would be running roughly 50 cents of risk on that trade, right? And then I have to ask myself, where would a realistic target be? Well, right now, to the best of my ability, I can assess this being a target, all of this prior resistance, right? And so then I say, okay, cool. Would I even take this trade? Would I get in at 612, risk the 50 cents to see how much I can make? I can make $1.75 to the upside. So what kind of risk-reward ratio is that? It's a 3.5 to 1. So that means if I come in and I'm willing to lose $1,000 on this trade, I can make $3,500 in profit on this trade. So would I take it? Yes. Why? I have multiple confluence. I have multiple reasons to take the trade. There's a high probability of reason to take it at 612, right? So I know the odds are in my favor, and I've got really good risk reward. That trade plan would make sense, right? It would make sense. But let me ask you a question. Let's say we're going through that process, and let's say this is the plan that you would have to build. Entry, stop, target, and that's just what the plan would look like. Would that trade make sense? No. Why? Because you're barely getting a 1-to-1 on your risk reward. It wouldn't make sense. So if it came down to 612 and you knew that's the most realistic plan to have built, you know you wouldn't take the trade because the risk reward sucks. So you would pass on the trade altogether. But we know we have good risk reward. We can get about a 3.5 to 1 out of it. So I know with the utmost conviction and the utmost confidence that I'm getting long at 612, right? We come down to 612, I'm getting long. I'm not fumbling. I'm not scrambling, trying to build a plan, trying to get an idea of why am I. I'm just clear. I'm confident. I just got to wait. And if we get down to 612, I play calls. And I know what my plan is. I know where I get in. I know where my stop's at. I know where my target's at. It's realistic. I see the potential. It's a good setup. So that really is kind of where your head needs to be on a daily basis. Regardless of what you're doing, what you're trading, your style of trading, follow that process. Top-down analysis. Find all of your key zones and key levels like we just did, and build your plans, right? Visualize what it would look like. What would the plan look like? Would it even be a trade you would take in the first place? And this is how pro traders really get prepared for a session. They don't come in blind. They come in prepared, ready to rock, ready to roll, knowing exactly what they want to do in the market today. It's not random. They're 100% clear. How do I do the midpoint again? Yeah, so you're going to go ahead and double click on your zone. So if you just double click that zone, the rectangle pop-up will appear. And just go ahead and click the option that says middle line and then hit OK. And that's going to put the middle line on your zones. Yeah, we already did TA on the spine the Qs. So we've wrapped that up. All right, what else we got? Anything else you want to look at? If you guys are in the TikTok stream as well, I just opened up, I think, 50 more seats for the free course and community. So if you guys want to tap in and grab my free course where we talk a lot about the analysis and this process, and you actually learn these skills, all of that information's in the free course. And then we're letting you guys tap into the community as well, our trading community. So think I opened it up for like 50 more people, but I think 10 people signed up last night. So there's like 40 enrollment seats left. So again, if you guys want it, just go click the link in my profile and sign up for it. It's a free course, free community. So you have nothing to lose. You have everything to gain. And you learn this. You learn the process. You learn how we do this analysis. You learn how we get prepared for the day. And if you guys do need support, you guys have questions, you guys can ask those in the community, and we got you guys covered. Do I trade NQ? Yeah, I'll trade futures. Yeah, and we're actually going to go do some analysis on ES and NQ as well. All right, so here's what we have on ES today. If we look at ES, again, same process. We go right to the daily. What are we doing? Doing our daily support resistance analysis, supply and demand, and gaps, which gaps on ES, it's rare. You don't really have gaps. But we're going to find some good zones of support resistance and supply and demand. So the first daily zone of support that we have on ES is down between 6,200 to 6,207. Now, why? Right? Why is that a good daily zone? Well, let's talk about it. What's my criteria for finding a key daily zone? There's really two pieces of criteria. Number one, how many hits does it have? And what consists of a hit? That could be a high a day, a low a day, an open, or a close inside of that zone. That would classify and count as a hit, one hit. Right? So how many total hits do I have? Number one. And then how sharp of a reaction do we see when we hit the zone? Right? So let's look at this zone. We have one hit, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? I know I have more hits, but those are the main ones that stand out. So I have 10 hits. I have a lot of high day rejections. High day rejections. It's been hit many, many times. So, cool. Step one. Step two, sharp moves. Do we have any sharp moves and sharp reactions off the zone? Well, let's look. We hit that zone as a high day. Boom. Big drop. Big dump. It's a sharp move. We come up, hit that level, gap down, big drop. That was a key reversal point, right? We come up, hit this level 3 days back to back. Tap, tap, tap. Just can't break it. Boom. Big drop. We come down, hit the zone as low a day. Boom. Big pop. So you guys see the sharp moves off the zone? It's not just the fact that it's been hit. A lot of times, it's got very sharp moves. Pretty key, significant points off that zone. So it's a high probability zone. And again, that's between 6,200 to 6,207. Right, then we're going to have some daily supply, right? So there's your base drop formation on ES. So there is daily supply, right? What else on the daily? Nothing. We're done. Easy peasy. Let's go into a 4-hour time frame on ES. Now I'm just really looking for some 4-hour supply. I got daily supply, right? Where's my 4-hour? I got two 4-hour zones. I got this 4-hour zone right here around 6,240. Right, there's my rally base drop. But I also have this zone right here where I also have my rally base drop. And these are significant zones. I like this zone better than this zone simply because candle body structure, right? We can see that the candle body here is more than 50%. The candle body here is less than 50%. So this one picks up one extra criteria checkbox, but they both break oppositional legs, right? The impulse out was 2 times greater on both of these moves. They didn't gap down, so those didn't gap down. They opened flat before the impulse out. So, I mean, this one has a little bit more going for it simply because the candle body's less than 50% of the candle's entire range compared to this one here, but they both had very strong impulses out, and they both broke oppositional legs in the process, right? So we got two 4-hour demand zones on ES. And we can go even down to a 1-hour, and you could start building even some 1-hour overlap inside of the 4-hour, inside of the daily, right? So if you want to go throw your 4-hour, be my guest. But we do have some daily 4-hour and some lower time frame supply chilling up in this region here on ES, right? We know we have that daily zone of support. Okay, where's your nearest level of demand? Well, back down here, right, on Wednesday of this week. So we have the Tuesday rally. We base on Wednesday. We rally on Thursday. So you guys see that rally, base, rally on the daily. So that's daily demand right there. from Wednesday's session. So we've done all of our analysis. Now we get to do what? Go visualize some plans. Go visualize some plans and see where the best of the best of the best of the best trades would be. So let's build 2 plans off that daily zone of support. Right, we're clearly in an uptrend. I don't want to short against the uptrend, especially when the trend is strong and momentum strong. I really don't want to get short. But if the short sets up, I'm going to fucking take it. Right? I don't want to be biased. If the short sets up, I'm taking it. But I need to see a shift. I need to see a change of character, a break of structure. I need to clearly see that fucking reversal setting up before I take the short. Right? So what would I need to see to take the short? Well, if we can candle body close below these prior 30-minute swing lows, we're starting to see a potential first leg down. And I say potential first leg down because we still need to see the lower high form after the first leg and then start to see the second leg form too. So what I'm starting to notice is we have this swing low, swing high, swing low, swing high. And we're clearly in an uptrend, right? Swing low, swing high, swing low. Flat top resistance, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. If we start to see a breakdown below that zone of support, we would put in a lower low, correct? And if we push back up into that zone, it's now resistance where we could see a what? Lower high. And if we see a lower low followed by a lower high at that daily zone of resistance, that would be the short for the second leg down. That would be the short, but it would have to set up just like that for it to be an A+ short. If it doesn't set up like that, there's no short. All right. So hopefully you guys are clear on that's how perfect this trade would need to set up for us to get short. Does that make sense, guys? I hope so. If it doesn't make sense, let me know. I'll explain it. But if it makes sense, give me a thumbs up. That's the short plan for today, right? But if we come down and we just overall hold that zone and we see great price action pushing back to the upside, that's going to be the calls all day, right? And we're just going to trade with the trend, trade with this momentum, right? So this would be a break and a retest off that daily zone. That's a simple strategy. You guys need to learn the break and the retest off daily zones. It's a very simple, effective strategy. Right, the trade with momentum, the trade with the trend. So that's going to be the long plan, is getting long for the break and retest if we see it setting up. But if we see the lower low come through and we see the lower high forming, that would be the opportunity to play puts and get short to the downside. All right. Someone says not really. All right, so let's look at what are we trending, up or down, or are we range bound? So let's just really look at the market ES on a 30-minute. We could both agree that we're in an uptrend, right? Where we have a series of higher lows and higher highs. So let's go ahead and just mark this up, right? We can go, we have this low, we have this high, we have this higher low, we have this higher high, we have this higher low, we have this higher high, we have this higher low, higher high, higher low, flat top resistance, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So if we're going to continue to see higher lows build, we could see higher highs. If we pull back and see a higher low, we can see a higher high. And the trend is still intact. The trend is still to the upside. Why would you want to short that? Why would you think the market's going to move down? You wouldn't want to short it. If you are in a clear uptrend, you would just want to trade with the trend. But at what point could we see a shift in trend, right? If we see a lower low, right? That would be the first time we've had a lower low. All of yesterday, we did not see a lower low. We saw a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. This could be the first time that we see a higher high followed by a lower low. And that would be the first segment or the first leg to the downside. If we see the higher high, which we see the higher high, and if we get the lower low, that's a clear segment down. That is a leg to the downside. Okay. And then if we bounce, which we'll probably bounce, we'll see that retracement, right? And that retracement puts us at that daily zone of resistance, and we clearly see we're topping out and we're rolling over, we could see the market drop again and see another lower low form, right? This is what we call a second leg short. That's the name of the setup. It's called a second leg short. It's when you clearly see the trend is shifting, right? So we see we're in a clear uptrend, and we may start to see a shift in that trend by getting the lower low. That would be a clear first leg to the downside. If we see a lower high, right, we could see a second leg to the downside. And that second leg is what we want to short. Okay, that's why we call it a second leg short. We identify valid first leg. We wait for the lower high to form and present itself. We take the short, and we're looking for the second leg to form. That's why it's called a second leg short. Does that make sense when we break it down like that? So that is the only way I would even consider getting short on ES today. All right, we got to see the clear first leg down below that zone. We need to see a lower high form at that zone. Then we get short for the second leg to the downside. Okay? If that still doesn't make sense, I don't know if I can help you. All right, cool. Then what do we have on NQ? So NQ actually came up and hit some of that all-time high supply. I know there's no supply at all-time highs, but it fucking hit. All right, so what do we have on NQ? Right, there is this little supply zone, but the rule of thumb is there's no supply at all-time highs. All right, but I'm still going to mark it up and see if it's respected. Chaos for the Rose. Appreciate you, man. So we have the rally-based drop formation at all-time highs on NQ. Again, the rule of thumb is no supply at all-time highs, so we absolutely tread lightly with getting short at supply at all-time highs, but I still want to mark it up. I'm still curious to see if it's respected. So go ahead and mark up your daily supply zone, right? There's nothing else on the daily. Like, pretty simple stuff. Now, if we go into a 4-hour time frame, right, we're looking at some 4-hour supply. Do we have any 4-hour supply that lines up with our daily supply? We do. You got two zones. You have this rally-based drop right here. That was the first little supply zone created. Right? And then we have this rally-based drop. There's your next little supply zone that was created. And then what do we have? We have this drop-based drop. There's your third 4-hour supply zone that was created. So you see we have we have three. We have 3 4-hour zones of supply inside of that daily supply zone. Right? So that's your daily supply right there. Right? What do we have? 4-hour supply. 4-hour supply. 4-hour supply. So go ahead and mark up those 3 4-hour supply zones. And what do you notice? You get a fuck ton of overlap, right? You see you got a lot of overlap with the zones. And that overlap is where we want to take the trades, all right? So we had a lot of supply. What does NQ do this morning? It comes up, it hits the overlap, and it drops. Interesting, right? It's not a coincidence, guys. It's how the fucking market moves. Excuse my language, but that's just how the market moves, right? It's not a coincidence that we hit these levels and 80% of the time we make moves, right? So get good at reading supply and demand and get good at finding these overlaps. And if you can just be patient enough and wait for those overlaps to get hit, you'll notice 80% of your trades are profitable, right? So we came up, hit the overlap, and we're falling out of some of that supply. Cool. Where could we see it go? Well, I have 4-hour demand on NQ right here. Right, so I have this rally, base, rally. Right, so I have some 4-hour demand. Right, am I in an uptrend or am I in a downtrend on the 4-hour? I'm still in a 4-hour uptrend. Right, so do I think we can come down, hit demand, and still push to the upside? Yes, because we're still in an uptrend on the 4-hour. So I would still be looking to get long on some of that 4-hour demand. Right, but we may tweak our analysis a little bit once we get into the lower time frames, but that's what I'm noticing here. Come up, hit the overlap, we're falling, we got 4-hour demand, we're still in the 4-hour uptrend. This is an area that we can hit and pop again to the upside. All right, let's go into a 1-hour time frame on NQ. Do we have anything on a 1 hour? We do. Absolutely. We have this 1 hour demand from yesterday, right? We have this rally, base, rally formation. So go ahead and mark up your 1 hour demand. And would we want to put a fib retracement on this? Absolutely. We would want to definitely put a fib retracement on this bad boy. We got to look at NQ and look at this leg. Was that a leg? It was. Swing low, swing high, 50% pullback, push. So now we've identified our leg. It's from this swing low right here up to that swing high from today's session. So that's your fib from swing low to swing high. All right. And let's get this back into a like 30-minute time frame. So we've done all of our analysis, right? So we have all these zones. We've done all of our analysis. Now we get to be creative and build a plan, right? We're just asking yourself, if NQ does this today, would I take a trade? That's all we're doing. We're visualizing what we could see, right? So if NQ comes down into that 1 hour demand zone today at 22,600, would I get long? Yes. Why? I have 1 hour demand. That's one reason to take the trade. Okay. And it's my fibs golden pocket. That's two reasons to take this trade. And what have we been noticing here over the past few days? We have a leg up, 50% pullback. Leg up, 50% pullback. Leg up, 50% pullback. Leg up, 50% pullback. In strong markets, you will continue to see that type of development where you have leg up, healthy pullback, leg up, healthy pullback, leg up, healthy pullback. And you can see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 legs to the upside. But we notice a trend. Leg up, 50% pullback. Leg up, 50% pullback. We notice the trend, right? So I like that fib, where that 50% is. It lines up with demand. So that's why I would take a trade off that 22,600 because I have multiple reasons to take the trade there. Hopefully that's making sense. And so what would my plan look like? Well, I would get long off that demand zone where my little golden pocket is, right? Where'd my stops go? I'd put stops under that demand zone, right? And with futures, I'm just going to set a standard 3-to-1 risk reward. Do I think it's realistic to pop a 3-to-1 trade here? I think that's more than realistic. So I like the plan. I see the potential. I have multiple reasons to take the trade. All I have to do is what? Wait for NQ to get there, right? That's the hardest part about trading. Just fucking waiting. Just wait. If it gets there, you know there's going to be a good trade, right? So just wait. It could be today, tomorrow. I don't know. Just wait. But yeah, that's the plan on NQ. You see on ES, we haven't put in a lower low yet, right? Because we're looking at candle body close. So we're still uptrending, technically speaking, on the 30-minute ES time frame. All right, so there's ES for you. You guys are good on that. We discussed NQ. You guys are dialed there. What else are we looking at today, guys? We could look at anything else that you think has good potential. I think Boeing has good potential. I think we're inside that gap today. Are we above 203.80? Aha, we are above 203.80. So Boeing, ticker BA, this is a long setup for today. So if Boeing can come back down to 203.81 and hold the bottom end of this gap today as support, I'm going to play calls on Boeing. Why would I play calls on Boeing? Right? Because we're inside this daily gap. And when we are inside of a daily gap and we hold and stay inside of that daily gap, most of the time we do what? We fill that daily gap to the upside. So I know that if we come back down and hold the bottom of the gap, which is 203.81 as support today, I know 70 to 80% of the time we push up and fill the gap. So I'm playing calls on that. So that's pretty simple stuff on Boeing. That's a gap fill long. And this one looks good today because we're inside the gap right now. So we'll see if that plays out. And then was I going to short AMD? I was thinking about AMD short yesterday, but we already hit that daily supply zone on AMD, and we already had a pretty nice drop. So I don't really see too much on AMD right now. The trade, unfortunately, was yesterday morning. I just was not here yesterday morning. So I don't see anything with AMD today. But Boeing looks decent. And we got a couple decent trades built on the SPY and the Qs. It's just one of those markets, man. When you're at all-time highs, the opportunities are pretty limited. Pretty limited. But it's easy. The opportunities are limited, but at least the trading is easy if the trend remains intact. You know? We just trade with the trend. And all we're doing is we're getting long on the pullbacks. We see the pullback, we get long. See the pullback, get long. That's all we're looking to do until we see the shift in trend. All right? So I'm dialed. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling good. I'm ready to rock and roll. Do live trade on TikTok. I do not do anything after 9:30 on TikTok. I am exclusively with my mentorship students during market open. But I like to do these sessions in the morning with you guys. We run these at least 3 days a week for an hour. So you guys are learning my process, learning the skills, and I'm basically just giving you the best of the best plans for the day on a silver platter, and you guys can go roll with it. DC Dad TikTok says, Josh is the truth. I appreciate you, man. Jared, what's up, buddy? We got a call today, man. I see that you booked the call. I'm excited to get connected, brother. Again, if you guys are just now tuning in to TikTok, if you guys are on YouTube as well, and you guys want my new free course that I just put together, and you guys want to get tapped into our free trading community as well, go click the link in my profile, and you guys can go sign up. All right? So it's pretty simple. You literally just go to TikTok, right? Go to my profile page, and then click the Linktree link in my profile. And then where it says free trading course and community, you guys can sign up for free, get access to the course, and we're going to plug you guys into the community as well. So you have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain, and a lot of what we do here, this analysis, the process, the mindset we have, that's what's in the course. So it's going to be a really good foundation for you guys to build, right? And once you have that foundation built, you're able to start to scale and build on that foundation. So the course is going to help you build that foundation to get skilled like this. And it's going to help out tremendously. And if you guys do have questions about the material, you can ask those questions in the free community and we'll hook you up. You're such a good coach. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've been trading for 10 years and I've coached over 1,000 people since 2019. So you do the same thing over and over and over for 10 years, you get pretty damn good at it. And I love it. I love helping other people win too. Jared's all signed up, ready to rock and roll. We're going to have some fun today, man. We're going to jam. We're going to see where you're at. We're going to get you plugged in. I think I only have 2 seats left for July's enrollment too. So if you guys are like, hey, I want to be coached, I want to join your mentorship, I only have 2 seats left for July. We got Jared on the call today. Jared's most likely taking it. So I could probably have 1 seat left for July. And then right now, I don't have any open seats for August. So yeah, we got like 1 or 2 seats left for the next 60 days. And 60 days is all it takes to really get you guys dialed in. Appreciate all the the little gifts. Right? I got some roses. I got a freaking kitty cat, such a cute little cat. Some hearts and roses and dinosaurs. Appreciate it. Quitting smoking. I don't smoke. I no smoke. I want to be part of your coaching program, but all of your calls are around my work hours. Tell you what, just shoot me a text. You want to do that? Just shoot me a text on my personal cell, and we'll coordinate a time to get connected and see if we can help. You want to do that? If so, I'll give you my phone number, and you can just hit me with a text, and we'll find a time that works for you. Yep. All right. Let me know when you're ready, and I will give you the number that you can text our business line directly, and then I'll absolutely reach back out to you. It is going to be 727. Actually, I could probably type it. Yeah, I could probably type it. 727 620 6720. I don't know if you guys can see that, but yeah, 727 620 6720. Just say, yo, your name. Let me know what you're reaching out about, just so I know who is who. And I'll reach back out to you guys. We'll get something set up. So I think we're dialed, man. I think we're good. We got the long plan build on QQQ with some of the support demand overlap. So plans built there on the queues. We got the spy plan built. We have some 4-hour, 1-hour overlap with a daily zone of support as well. So that's going to be some good long opportunity on the spy. And yeah, right now we got some good plans built for ESNQ as well. Cool. We're all set. All right, guys, we'll stay blessed today. All right. Much love. And I'll catch you guys back here Monday morning, 8:30, TikTok. Market's going to be open at 9:30, so I will get the Zoom fired up for you guys. And we'll have some fun today. We'll make it happen. All right, but TikTokers, stay blessed. Much love. As always, trade smart and trade safe. And I'll catch you guys back here Monday morning.